Every minute you spend mindlessly scrolling, you are training your brain to be anxious, to be distracted, to be incapable of finishing anything that actually matters. That is not a metaphor. That is neuroscience. And here's what nobody in your life is going to say out loud. That cycle you're trapped in is quietly dismantling your ability to build anything real. Your goals, your focus, your relationships, the version of yourself you keep promising yourself you're going to become. Every scroll session is making that version harder to reach. This 4-minute reset is your emergency brake. It is the exact protocol I teach inside my Mindful Mastery program, the core pillar that people credit for changing their entire relationship with their phone, their attention, and honestly, their lives. And today, I'm walking you through it, right here, right now. No paywall, no waiting. Stay with me because what I'm about to give you isn't motivational fluff. It is a physiological override, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why it works, and you will have already done it once. We take the breath so we can grow the life. Let's go. Let me describe a moment, and I want you to see if this is you. You wake up, 6 a.m., maybe 7, and before your eyes have fully adjusted to the light, before you've said a word out loud, before you've taken one single deliberate breath, your hand is already moving. It moves toward your phone, and you didn't decide to do that. Your hand just went there, like a ghost was driving. If you felt even a flicker of recognition right now, I want you to sit with that, because what you just witnessed in yourself is not laziness, it is not weakness of character. It is the most sophisticated behavioral engineering that has ever existed on this planet, pointed directly at your nervous system, operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, funded by the largest advertising budgets in human history. That twitchy, heavy, slightly disconnected feeling, the one where your body's in the room but your mind is somewhere between 3 different feeds and a comments section you don't even care about. That's what I call the Scroll-Coma. And in 2026, it has gotten catastrophically worse. The hyper-personalized AI algorithms running the platforms you use have crossed a threshold. They model your emotional state in real time. They know when you're bored, they know when you're anxious, they know the exact length of content that keeps your thumb from swiping away. They know which color palette creates urgency versus calm. They know, and this is the part that should make you sit up straight, they know when you are most vulnerable, and they feed you at exactly that moment. So when you tell yourself, I just need to be more disciplined, I hear that. I used to say it too. But you are bringing individual willpower to $1 billion behavioral engineering war. And willpower alone is not going to win. The reason your cold turkey attempts keep failing isn't a character flaw. It's because you're fighting with the wrong weapon. And in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to give you the right one. Here's something I want you to genuinely understand, not just nod along to, but actually feel the weight of. Your difficulty focusing is not a character flaw. I'll say that again, because most of you have been carrying this like it's evidence that you are broken or behind or not built for the life you want. It isn't. What you're experiencing is a physiological dopamine deficit, and it has a specific, measurable cause. Your brain runs on a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Most people think of it as the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. Dopamine is actually the anticipation chemical. It fires when your brain believes a reward is coming. That electricity you feel when you hear a notification, the pull when the next piece of content is loading, the compulsive need to check if someone responded. That's dopamine, doing exactly what it evolved to do. Now, for most of human history, your brain managed a fairly limited dopamine economy. There wasn't much competing for it. So your natural baseline, the level at which the world felt interesting and motivating, was relatively easy to maintain. Then, we handed everyone a device that generates a dopamine spike approximately every 8 to 12 seconds. Short-form videos, notifications, likes, comments, memes, shocking headlines, content algorithmically engineered to produce a rapid sequence of micro-reward signals in your brain. What happens when you flood a system with a neurotransmitter it wasn't designed to manage at that volume? It adapts. Your brain starts to down-regulate your dopamine receptors. It reduces its own sensitivity to compensate for the constant flood, which means over time you need more stimulation to feel the same level of engagement, and the threshold keeps creeping upward. That threshold doesn't reset when you put your phone down. It's not a switch. So when you sit down to work on something that actually matters, a project, a creative goal, a conversation that needs your full presence, your brain surveys that situation and files one report. This is not stimulating enough. This feels boring. I don't know where the reward is coming from here. Your attention drifts, not because you don't care. You absolutely care. But your nervous system has been reconditioned to seek a frequency of stimulation that real, meaningful work cannot match. Your relationships feel slower than they should. Your creative process feels frustrating. Reading, actual focused reading, starts to feel like labor. And the most painful part? The more you scroll to escape that discomfort, the worse the problem gets. You're not escaping the debt. You're adding to it. But here is where everything changes. This is a physiological problem, which means it has a physiological solution. You don't fight it with willpower. You override it at the biological level, at the exact layer the algorithm cannot touch. And that override takes 4 minutes. Let me walk you through exactly what is happening in your body when you are deep in a scroll coma. Because once you see the mechanism, this protocol stops being a breathing exercise someone told you to try and starts being something you reach for like a tool. When you're actively consuming rapid-fire digital content, your sympathetic nervous system is engaged. This is your fight-or-flight arm, designed to keep you alert and scanning fast-moving environments. In that state, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, impulse control, and executive function, is running on reduced blood flow and oxygen. Let me say that more plainly. The very part of your brain you need to pursue your goals, resist impulses, and make decisions that actually serve you is physiologically suppressed while you scroll. The algorithm isn't just stealing your time, it's borrowing your brain. So how do you take it back? 2 physiological mechanisms. The first is carbon dioxide clearance. When you breathe shallowly, which most people do on their phones, hunched forward, slightly tense, carbon dioxide builds up in your bloodstream. This maintains a mild, continuous physiological stress state, not something you'd notice consciously.
But enough to keep your threat detection systems on a low simmer. Enough to keep you reactive instead of deliberate. Clearing that CO2 through a structured breathing cadence signals your brainstem that the environment has changed, that you are safe, that the scanning can stop. The second mechanism is the vagus nerve activation. Your vagus nerve is the superhighway of your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest counterpart to fight or flight. When you stimulate it properly, it triggers a cascade through your body. Lower heart rate, reduced cortisol, increased blood flow to the prefrontal cortex. Your brain comes back online. The decision-making center re-engages. That twitchy phantom impulse to check your phone, it starts to dissolve. The 4-minute dopamine reset combines both mechanisms in a precise sequence. It doesn't take longer than 4 minutes because it doesn't need to. The physiological shift begins within the first 60 seconds, if you do it correctly. This isn't a relaxation technique. This is a precision tool, and I'm going to guide you through it right now. All right, we're doing this now. Wherever you are, sitting, standing, in your car with the engine off, set the phone down. Or if you're watching on your phone, prop it up so your hands are free. Take a breath, just one, to arrive here. Good. Now feel where your body is. Feel the weight of your body in the seat, the floor under your feet. Whatever surface is holding you right now, press into it slightly. Notice it. That shift you just made, pulling attention from the screen into physical space, that is the beginning of the reset. We start with what I call the release breath. Breathe in through your nose, big and full, all the way to the bottom of your lungs. Let your belly expand, not your chest. Hold at the top. Just a moment. Now breathe out through your mouth. Slow, steady, completely empty. Push the last bit of air out. Don't rush. Do that again. In through the nose, big and full, and out through the mouth, slow and complete. One more time. And this time, at the very bottom of the exhale, pause there in that empty space. Just 1 second. Feel the stillness at the bottom of your breath. That low-grade static, that faint buzzing urgency that runs in your nervous system all day, you can feel it starting to soften. That's CO2 clearing. That's your brainstem receiving the signal that the environment is safe. Now we move into what I call the 4-7-8 anchor. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top for 7 counts. Shoulders relaxed, easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out through your mouth for 8 counts. This long exhale is the signal. Make it slow, deliberate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 1 cycle. We do 3. In for 4, hold for 7, out for 8. Again, in, hold, and breathe all the way out. Last one, make this one count. In, hold, and out. If you actually breathed with me, you can feel the difference. More space in your chest, more quiet in your head. That's your vagus nerve activating. Your prefrontal cortex is coming back online. The part of you that makes real decisions is returning to the room. Now we anchor completely. I want you to notice 5 things you can physically feel right now. Not see, feel. The temperature of the air coming into your nose. The texture of whatever your hands are resting on. The weight of your own skull balanced on your spine. The specific temperature of the air against your forearms. And the rhythm of your own heartbeat. If you can't feel it, press 2 fingers gently into the side of your neck. Feel it. Slow, steady. That heartbeat has been keeping you alive through every scroll session, every late night, every anxious morning you woke up already reaching for your phone. It's still here. You are still here. And right now, in this moment, your attention is entirely yours. That thing you just felt, that quiet, spacious, clear feeling, that is not a meditation state. That is your default. That is what your nervous system actually feels like when it isn't being hijacked by a billion-dollar attention machine. You didn't just do a breathing exercise. You just reclaimed your brain. And this, right here, right now, this is the starting line for everything you actually want to build. Now, I need to be direct with you. The people who do this reset once and disappear back into the scroll, they get a window, maybe an hour, sometimes a day. And then the machine pulls them back in because they brought a 4-minute tool to a lifestyle architecture problem. The people who change, they built systems around the reset. And that's the difference between someone who tried the breathing thing once and someone who's genuinely reclaimed their attention. I've worked with hundreds of people inside my mindful mastery community, professionals, creatives, students, parents, who came in exactly where you are right now. They've done the research, they've tried the apps, they've set screen time limits and broken them 17 times. They knew the problem. What they were missing was architecture, not motivation, architecture. A structured blueprint for how your attention gets allocated before the algorithm gets access to you in the morning. A protocol for what the first 10 minutes of your day look like, the minutes that set the neurological tone for every decision that follows. A community of people building the same thing so the social reward you used to get from scroll culture now comes from actual growth. That is what the Digital Autonomy Masterclass is built around. It's not a course that tells you to delete Instagram. It's a system that restructures your relationship with digital input so that you are choosing what gets your attention, not the other way around. Inside, the complete 21-day dopamine reset protocol. Not just this 4-minute version, but the full recalibration sequence that shifts your baseline over 3 weeks. The morning sovereignty stack, the specific 12-minute routine that primes your prefrontal cortex before any external input reaches it. And a private community of people actively rebuilding their attention in real time alongside you. Here's how you start, and this part is free. The link in the description takes you to the email list. When you sign up, you get immediate access to the Focus Architecture PDF, the distilled blueprint of everything I teach in a format you can implement today. Not next week, today. Because attention lost is not just time lost. It's the conversation you weren't fully present for, the goal you kept pushing the next month, the version of yourself you kept deferring, waiting for some future moment when you'd finally have enough focus to start. We take the breath right here in these 4 minutes so that we can grow the life. The real one, the one that exists on the other side of the scroll. That is what MindTake stands for. That is why this channel exists. Before you go, and I mean this genuinely, don't let the reset end when this video does. The protocol you just completed is most powerful when it becomes what you reach for first. Not the foam as reflex, the breath as reflex. If this landed for you, do one thing right now.
Hit subscribe and share this with one person in your life who is fighting this. Not because it helps the channel, though it does, but because most people around you are carrying this exact weight and don't yet have a name for it. You do now. I've also linked a video above that goes deeper into the morning sovereignty stack, the specific 12-minute protocol that locks the gains from this reset into your daily architecture. That is the natural next step, and I think you're ready for it. I'm Dr. Silas Kincaid. Take the breath, grow the life. I'll see you in the next one.